In this series of videos, I will show you some basic Python programming. You can see I have opened 3 windows. This is my Edge browser, this is a notepad, and this is my command prompt. So to start Python programming, the first thing you need is Python on your machine. You could find Python by just going to search engine like Bing and looking for just type download Python for Windows 11. You will get some results. You can go to python.org downloads. It probably take you there. And here you just click on download Python 3.12.2, which will install an executable file. Once you have the executable file, install it, and that should install Python. To check the Python has been installed correctly, go to command prompt and just type Python. If you see Python shell coming up, then then it's working fine. In case you don't see it, what you need to do is go to environment settings, and by typing environment variables in the search bar in Windows, click on environment variables, and then wherever Python was installed on the machine, just add that to the path. So to do that, click on path, click on edit, and click on new, and just add the path here. So as you can see, I have already added Python in the path variable, and thus it works for me on the command shell. So when you've got the Python now, the tutorial I'm following is from Microsoft. It's on Python training. So just look for Python for Beginners Microsoft Learn tutorial. It should get you to this website. I like this tutorial because it is basic and it covers some fundamental constructs about Python, which should help you get started. So I'll be following the tutorials here. So let's look at this one, Introduction to Python. This one basically talks about what Python is, what is REPL, which essentially is the interpreter or the shell of Python, which you get when you when you type Python on command prompt. So I am in the REPL editor. What it essentially does is it reads what you type, it evaluates, it prints the results, and then it does it again. So it's a loop. That's what REPL means. So once you are in the Python shell, if I just follow this tutorial here, if I type 1 + 1, it's going to read it and evaluate it. So 1 + 1 is 2. It's going to print the result and it's going to wait for the next prompt. So that's your first Python statement you have written. So I've done 1 + 1, 2. You can do other things, like you can create variables and declaration. You can create variables and functions. So variables are things which have names and they hold some value. So if I want to create a variable called pi, which holds a value of pi, I would do simply pi equal to 3.14. So this now creates a variable called pi, and if I print it, I should get the value of pi. So that's the first, chapter or tutorial. Then the next one talks about, then once you've done the basic things, let me just this one. On variables one, as I mentioned, you can create variables by giving it a name and a value, and the value assignment happens using the equal to sign. And once you have a variable, you can use that variable with other variables. Like in this example, if I declare a variable x and assign it a value 1, then I can create another variable y, and I can use the value of x to in the definition or when assigning value to y, and now I can print both x and y, and I see 1 and 2. The numbers, then it talks about numbers. Numbers can be integer numbers, that is, they don't have a decimal point, and then they can be decimal or floating point numbers which have a decimal point. So when it's a variable, then it talks about a type function. So when we declare a variable, for example, I declared pi and I want to see what type it is, whether it's a string or a decimal or a float, I can call the function type and say, mention the variable I want to check value of, and it tells me that it's of type integer. I can do the same for, say, y, and because y is also integer because it's x plus 1. If I was to say z equal to 3.0, and if I then now say type z, I should see that it is float. So we have integer variables, we also have string variables, and the string variables have these single quotes around them. So I can say a variable called name, and I can give it a value, say Manu, with spaces, and this declares a string variable. Again, let's see type name, and it should say str, which means string. Then the next chapter talks about is an exercise. I like this because you can do the exercise on the website itself, but I prefer to do it separately, so I have thought a command prompt here. I think this exercise you have to do in the command prompt, but as you progress in this with this tutorial, you will see there'll be inbuilt sandbox environments where you can run your commands. So right now what we have done is we have declared variables, assigned them values. In real life examples, generally the inputs come from, say, a user who is who provides the values. So the function to get input from outside the program is called input. So I can do something like, say, name is equal to input, and I can say what is your name. Now when I enter that, oh, didn't work. So let's see. Oh, I forgot the quotes. So I can use single quotes and double quotes. So let me do this. Name is equal to input, begin a quote, what is your name, and end the quote. Now it's going to wait for my input. So if I say Jack, then name is whatever I enter here has been assigned to the name variable. So now if I print name, I should see Jack, which I do. So that's how you get the inputs. And now whenever you input something, it's always a string. Now if I do the same again and say name age equal to input, what is your age, and this time let me give it some space so that it looks better. If I do this, and what is your age, if I say 8, then my age should come as 8. And if I do a type on this, I will see it is coming as string. What that means is if I say age plus 1, so add 1 to the age, I get an error because I'm trying to add an integer into a string. It doesn't allow that. So the variables in most cases have to be of same or similar type. So I can do a age plus 1.0 or float plus 1 because their float and integer are similar types, but I cannot do a string plus integer or string plus float. So to correct that, I can use functions like int. So what it does is int will convert age, which is string, into a number, and if I do plus 1, so int has converted the string age into an integer. Now I can add 1 to it. So if I give it a variable called new age is equal to int age plus 1, or if I so let me give it a better name, age after 1 years. If I do this, and if I now see there was no error this time, and if I now do print age after 1 years, I see 9. So that's how you work with variables, or variables of different types. So just like I can convert a string to an integer, I can also convert an integer into a string by using a similar function called str. So I can, for example, do age in string is str function, then age after 1 years. Now I have a age. Now this will make age of type string. So if I now do type age in str, it should come as string, which it does. And if I do type age after 1 years, it comes as integer. So that's what I think this chapter talks about. And then there's an exercise in the end where you can it basically it says make a calculator. Again, you're in the Python shell. So say if you are asking, you will ask user to add two numbers, and the calculator will add them. Then you do this by first declaring a variable where you'll store the first number. So let's say first number is equal to, we want the value to come from outside the program. So I'll say input, or from a user, I'll say input, and I'll say enter first number, and I say, let's look at this one. I forgot the double quotes. I'll do it again. And it brings me a good point. So when something is not working, the prints here gives you an idea what could be wrong. So when I have done this, I get an error saying that in line 1, which is the line, this is unterminated string literal. So unterminated means that I started a quote to show it's a string literal, but I did not provide another quote to end it. So that's why it's unterminated. So to correct it, I've added this quote here. So first number is input, enter first number. I enter this, and let's say I say the first number is 7. Then I can do second number is equal to input, enter second number. Again, give me a space to make it look a bit better. Maybe add a quote. So, and let's say, and as you see here, whatever I print inside these quotes is shown as is. So let's say the second number is 10, and now I can do print, or I can do first number plus second number. I can print it, and yeah, it's, oh, this is now fun. So the numbers are strings 7 and 10. So when I have done first number plus second number, what the program has done is it has combined them together. Like this is string number 1, and this, so 7 is string number 1 and 10 is string number 2. It has just joined it. It hasn't done the mathematical operation. And that's because these first number and second number are strings. Now to make them integer, I should have first converted them into integers, and now when I do it, I should get 17 now. So that's what this tutorial covers. So that's the first steps towards programming in Python, and I'll make more videos on other chapters as well. Thanks for watching.